Han Jin wiped his hands on his apron and looked around his small restaurant one more time. Everything was clean and ready. The tables were set with simple white plates. The kitchen smelled like the garlic and ginger he had used for lunch service. 3 months had passed since he opened Earth Kitchen on Harmony's Edge, the biggest space station in the galaxy. Today was important. Today, the Galactic Health Commission was coming to check his restaurant. Han had been waiting for this visit since he first applied for his food license. Without their approval, he could not keep serving food to the aliens who lived and worked on the station. The front door chimed as someone entered. Han looked up and saw a tall, clear creature that looked like it was made of living crystal. This had to be Inspector Velka. Han had never seen a crystalline before, but he had heard they were very careful about safety rules. "Welcome to Earth Kitchen," Han said with a smile. "You must be the inspector." Velka did not smile back. The crystal being carried a small device that was already making soft beeping sounds. "I am Inspector Velka. I am here to examine your food preparation area for dangerous substances." Han nodded. "Of course. Please follow me to the kitchen." They walked behind the counter, and Han showed the inspector his cooking area. Everything was organized and clean just like his grandmother had taught him back on Earth. The inspector held up the scanning device and pointed it at different areas. Suddenly the device began making loud, angry noises. Red lights flashed all over it. Velka's crystal body began changing colors from clear to bright orange. "What is that sound?" Han asked, worried something was broken. "My scanner is detecting dangerous chemicals," Velka said. The inspector's voice was shaking. "Many dangerous chemicals." Han looked around his kitchen, confused. "I don't understand. I keep everything very clean." Velka pointed at Han's spice rack. "That shelf contains at least 15 different chemical weapons." Han laughed. "Those are spices. For cooking. Salt, pepper, cinnamon, chili powder." The inspector's crystal body flashed red. "Capsaicin is a chemical irritant used by military forces. Piperine causes burning sensations in most species. Cinnamaldehyde is banned on 12 worlds." "But those are just seasonings," Han said slowly. "I use them to make food taste good." Velka stepped backward toward the door. "You are telling me that humans intentionally put chemical irritants in their food?" "Well, yes. Food would be very boring without spices." The inspector's scanner was now making sounds like a fire alarm. Velka pointed it at Han's refrigerator. "What is in that cooling unit?" "Food. Vegetables, meat, some drinks." Han opened the refrigerator door. "Would you like to see?" "No." Velka shouted. "The readings are off the scale. I am detecting alcohol, which is a known neurotoxin. I am also finding signs of active bacterial cultures." Han scratched his head. "The alcohol is just cooking wine and some beer. The bacteria is probably the kimchi my sister sent me from Earth." "You store active biological weapons in your food cooling unit?" Velka was now backing toward the exit. "Kimchi is fermented cabbage. It's healthy. Good for digestion." The inspector's body was flashing between orange and red very quickly. "I am reading caffeine levels that would be lethal to most species. Where is this deadly stimulant?" Han pointed to a simple container on his counter. "That's coffee beans. I drink coffee every morning." "You consume cardiac stimulants daily?" Velka reached the door. "I am declaring this establishment an extreme hazard zone. No one is permitted to enter until the full commission can determine if humanity is attempting to poison the galactic community." "Wait," Han called out. "I can explain everything. These are normal human foods." But Velka was already outside, sealing the door with an emergency lock. Through the window, Han watched the inspector place warning signs all around his restaurant. Other aliens walking by stopped to read the signs, then hurried away quickly. Han sat down on a stool in his empty restaurant and looked at his spice rack. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika, cinnamon, nutmeg, and a small container of red chili flakes his mother had sent him. These simple things that made food taste good were apparently dangerous weapons to the rest of the galaxy. He picked up the container of chili flakes and read the label his mother had written in Korean. "For my son's restaurant. Make them taste home." He smiled sadly and put the container back on the shelf. Outside his window he could see more officials arriving. They were wearing protective suits and carrying equipment. One of them was setting up a large sign that read, "Chemical Hazard, Authorized Personnel Only." Han sighed and made himself a cup of coffee. If caffeine was going to get him in trouble anyway, he might as well enjoy it. He sat at one of his empty tables and wondered how he would explain to his family that his dream of bringing Korean food to the galaxy had ended before it really began. The coffee was good though, even if the galaxy thought it was poison. 3 days passed before anyone came to talk to Han. He spent the time reading news reports about his restaurant on his communication device. The headlines were not good. Human weapons cache discovered on trade station. Are humans planning chemical attack? Deathworld species brings poison to galaxy. Han was drinking his morning coffee when the door unlocked. A small, bird-like creature walked in wearing a scientist's coat. Her feathers were blue and silver, and she moved carefully, like she was afraid something might explode. "Hello," she said in a soft voice. "I am Dr. Yumi from the University of Centauri. I study different species and their biology." Han stood up quickly. Finally, someone who might understand. "I'm Han Jin." Dr. Yumi set down a recording device and some papers. "I have read the inspection report. I must ask you questions about your species and your homeworld." "Of course. Anything to help clear this up." Dr. Yumi looked at her notes. "Tell me about Earth. What kind of world is it?" Han sat back down and thought. "It's beautiful. Many different places. We have hot deserts, cold mountains, thick forests, deep oceans. Some places get very hot in summer and very cold in winter. And humans live in all these places?" "Yes, everywhere on Earth. My family is from Korea, which gets cold winters and hot summers. My friend Sue lives in Thailand, where it's always warm. My cousin Min moved to Canada, where it snows half the year." Dr. Yumi's feathers ruffled. "Your world has extreme temperature changes?" "I guess. We just dress differently for different weather. Thick coats in winter, light clothes in summer." "What do you eat on this Earth?" Han smiled. "Everything. Vegetables, fruits, meat, fish, grains. Korean food uses a lot of vegetables and rice. We ferment cabbage to make kimchi. We eat spicy peppers and strong garlic." Dr. Yumi made notes quickly. "The plants on your world, do they try to protect themselves from being eaten?" "Of course. Thorns, bad taste, poison. But humans learned which ones are safe and how to prepare them." Han paused. "My grandmother always said humans are smart because they had to be. Earth doesn't make survival easy." "What do you mean?" Han thought about how to explain. "Earth has dangerous animals. Big cats that hunt humans. Poisonous snakes. Bears. Sharks in the ocean. We had to learn to fight them or avoid them." Dr. Yumi's small hands were shaking as she wrote. "Your world has predators that hunt your species?" "Well, not so much now. But long ago, yes. Humans had to be clever to survive. We learned to use fire, make tools, work together. And the plants. Many plants don't want to be eaten, so they make themselves taste bad or cause pain. But humans discovered that small amounts of these things can make food taste better. Like chili peppers, they burn your mouth but the flavor is amazing." Dr. Yumi stopped writing and looked at Han directly. "You are telling me that humans intentionally eat things that cause pain?" "Not real pain. Just a little burning sensation. Makes you feel good after. Like exercise, it hurts while you do it but you feel strong afterward." "And alcohol?" Han laughed. "Humans have been making alcohol for thousands of years. We ferment fruits and grains. It helped keep water clean in the old days. Now we drink it to relax and celebrate. But alcohol is poison to most species. Maybe because their worlds are safer than Earth. Humans can handle things that might hurt others because we had to learn to handle them." Dr. Yumi looked at her scanner readings again. "Your coffee contains caffeine levels that would kill a Velthari." "Really? I drink 3 cups every day. Helps me wake up and think clearly." Han held up his coffee cup. "Would you like to try some? Just a tiny sip." "No." Dr. Yumi jumped back. "That could put me in the hospital." Han looked sad. "I'm starting to understand the problem. Things that are normal for humans are dangerous for everyone else. Tell me more about Earth's environment." "Well, we have storms that can destroy cities. Earthquakes that shake the ground. Volcanoes that spit fire. Floods, droughts, freezing cold, burning heat." Han paused. "But we also have beautiful sunsets, singing birds, flowers that smell wonderful, and rain that makes everything grow." Dr. Yumi was writing very fast now. "Your species evolved on a world that constantly tried to kill you. I never thought about it that way. To us, Earth is just home. And to survive, humans learned to eat the defense chemicals of plants, to drink fermented toxins, to enjoy substances that cause pain." Han nodded slowly. "When you say it like that, it sounds pretty scary. To the rest of the galaxy, humans appear to be a species that weaponized their own food supply." Dr. Yumi closed her notebook. "This changes everything we thought we knew about Deathworld evolution." "Deathworld? A planet so dangerous that it creates species capable of surviving almost anything." Earth may be the most extreme death world we've ever encountered. Han looked around his small restaurant. And now the galaxy thinks we're trying to poison them with our normal food. I need to write a report immediately. This isn't about weapons, this is about survival. Ambassador Park Na stood in the waiting room outside the Galactic Council chambers. She had been a diplomat for 15 years, but she had never faced a situation like this. Through the thick doors, she could hear angry voices arguing in different alien languages. Her communication device buzzed with another message from Earth. The president wanted updates every hour. The news media was calling it the Spice Crisis. Some people were angry that humans were being treated unfairly. Others worried that humanity might be banned from space forever. The doors opened and a small robot rolled out. The council will see Ambassador Park Na now, it announced. Park Na walked into the huge chamber. Representatives from 47 different species sat in curved rows rising up like a theater. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of living metal or had tentacles instead of arms. A few species she had never seen before floated in special atmosphere bubbles. At the center sat Council Speaker Thix Van, whose purple skin was covered in breathing holes that opened and closed rapidly. Ambassador Park Na of Earth, the speaker said through a translation device. You are here to explain why your species stores chemical weapons in food preparation areas. Honored speaker, thank you for this opportunity. Park Na moved to the demonstration platform in the center of the chamber. I believe there has been a misunderstanding about human culture. Misunderstanding? A tall, thin alien with 4 arms stood up. The inspection found 17 different toxins in one small restaurant. Those were cooking spices, Park Na said calmly. Today, I will show you how humans prepare a simple morning drink to demonstrate that our food culture is not dangerous. She had brought a small container of coffee beans, a pot for hot water and a simple filter. The council had agreed to let her do this demonstration, but medical teams were standing by with emergency equipment. This is called coffee, Park Na said, opening the container. Humans have been drinking it for over 1,000 years. The moment she opened the container, alarms began ringing throughout the chamber. 3 different species immediately activated their emergency breathing systems. A group of crystal beings near the front started flashing red warning colors. Toxic fumes detected, shouted a voice from the medical station. Please remain calm, Park Na said, though her own heart was beating fast. This is just the natural smell of coffee beans. But the chamber was already in chaos. The Matharian delegates' breathing apparatus sealed completely. Several small, furry aliens ran toward the exits. The crystal beings were now pulsing bright red and making high-pitched warning sounds. Stop this demonstration immediately, Speaker Thix Van commanded. The purple breathing holes on his skin were opening and closing very quickly. I haven't even added the hot water yet, Park Na said, but she could see this was making things worse. A robot medical unit rolled toward her. Scanning. Dangerous levels of caffeine detected in airborne particles. Evacuation recommended for sensitive species. But humans drink this every day, Park Na tried to explain. My grandmother drank coffee until she was 90 years old. Your grandmother consumed cardiac stimulants daily and lived to 90? The council's medical advisor, a floating jellyfish-like creature, sounded shocked. What kind of biology do humans have? More alarms started ringing. The emergency air cleaning system activated with a loud whoosh. Medical teams were now helping 3 different delegates who were showing signs of what their scanners called caffeine poisoning from just smelling the coffee beans. This is madness, squeaked a small voice from the upper rows. They're releasing airborne toxins in the council chamber. It's just coffee smell, Park Na said desperately. On Earth, people sit in coffee shops for hours breathing this. Remove the toxic substance immediately, Speaker Thix Van ordered. A cleaning robot rushed forward and sealed the coffee container in a hazardous materials box. The chamber slowly calmed down as the air system cleared the coffee smell. But the damage was done. Delegates were talking angrily among themselves. Several were still receiving medical treatment. Members of the council, Speaker Thix Van announced, we have seen enough. This human has just released what our medical systems confirm are dangerous chemical compounds into our chamber. She claims this is normal behavior for her species. Park Na felt sick to her stomach. Honored speaker, please let me explain. Silence. The speaker's breathing holes were now bright red. The evidence is clear. Humans consume and spread dangerous substances. They call these substances food and drink, but our science shows they are weapons. A vote was called. One by one, the species representatives cast their decisions. Park Na watched the numbers appear on the big screen. 39 votes for immediate action. Only 8 votes against. The Galactic Council hereby declares humanity a biological hazard to galactic society, Speaker Thix Van announced. You have 7 standard days to remove all human presence from galactic territories. Any human facilities serving food will be shut down immediately. Park Na stood alone on the platform as the delegates filed out. Some were still wearing emergency breathing equipment. Others were being helped by medical robots. Her communication device buzzed with urgent messages from Earth. But she could not answer them yet. She did not know how to tell her entire species that they had just been banned from the galaxy because she had opened a container of coffee beans. Han Jin sat in his sealed restaurant watching the news reports on his communication device. Every channel was talking about humanity's banishment from the galaxy. His sister called from Earth, crying about how the family restaurant business was ruined. His mother sent worried messages asking if he was safe. But Han was thinking about his grandmother's words, when people are angry and scared, feed them. Good food makes good friends. He activated his communication system and sent a message to Dr. Yumi, I have an idea. Can you help me contact the council? 2 hours later, Dr. Yumi arrived with Inspector Velka and several other officials. They all wore protective suits that made them look like they were visiting a nuclear disaster. What is your proposal, Human Han? Velka asked through the suit speaker. Give me one chance to cook for the council. Let me prove that human food is not about weapons, it's about bringing people together. Absolutely not, said Medical Chief Grixtar, a large creature with tentacles. You could poison the entire leadership of the galaxy. Then control everything, Han said. Watch every ingredient. Measure every spice. Use your own scanners and medical teams. If anything seems dangerous, stop me. Dr. Yumi looked at the others. My research shows that humans evolved to eat these substances safely. Perhaps in very small amounts, other species could tolerate them too. This is madness, Grixtar said, but Velka was interested. What exactly would you cook? The inspector asked. A simple stir-fry using ingredients you approve. But I would add tiny amounts of what you call chemical weapons to show they can create flavor instead of harm. After much discussion, the officials agreed. But they had conditions: full medical monitoring, emergency teams standing by, and any sign of danger would end the experiment immediately. The next day, the council chamber was set up like a laboratory. Medical scanners covered every surface. Emergency medical teams waited in protective gear. Council members sat far back behind protective barriers, though many looked ready to run. Han entered wearing a protective suit that made cooking almost impossible. Dr. Yumi and a team of scientists watched his every move. I will use only ingredients your own food safety team has approved, Han announced to the nervous audience. Centaurian grain pods, which are safe for all known species. Rigelian root vegetables. Tau Ceti leafy greens. He began cooking on a small burner while scientists scanned everything. The alien vegetables sizzled in the pan with a small amount of earth olive oil that had been tested and approved. Now, Han said, holding up a tiny container, I am adding 1 pinch of sodium chloride. That's salt, Dr. Yumi explained to the council. Essential for most life forms. Han added the salt. The medical scanners showed it was within safe levels. Next, I add exactly 3 granules of piperine. Han held up tweezers with 3 tiny pieces of black pepper. This is what you call a chemical irritant. Medical Chief Grixtar watched the scanners carefully. Piperine levels are minimal. No immediate threat detected. Han continued cooking, adding 1 drop of what the aliens called capsaicin solution, hot sauce so mild a human baby could drink it. The medical team monitored everything while he mixed the vegetables together. The smell of cooking food filled the chamber. Unlike the coffee disaster, this smell made some aliens look curious instead of afraid. Cooking complete, Han announced. He divided the food into small portions on plates. Who will volunteer to test this? Dr. Yumi asked. The chamber was silent. Then a young Zephyrian diplomat named Kree stepped forward. I will try it. For science. Medical teams surrounded Kree as she approached the plate. She picked up a small piece of vegetable with her claw and put it in her mouth. Her eyes grew wide. She chewed slowly, then swallowed. The medical scanners showed her heart rate increasing, but not dangerously. This is... Kree paused, searching for words. This is amazing. The vegetables taste completely different. So much more interesting. Interesting how? Asked Speaker Thix Van from behind his protective barrier. The flavors are complex. My normal food paste tastes like nothing compared to this. I want more. Another delegate, a crystalline being named Zeph, moved closer. May I try some? One by one, brave delegates tasted Han's simple stir-fry. None collapsed. None needed medical attention. Instead, something unexpected happened. They reached for second helpings. How is this possible? Whispered Speaker Thix Van, who had moved closer to see what was happening. The chemical weapons create what humans call flavor, Dr. Yumi explained. In tiny amounts, they enhance taste rather than cause harm. Medical Chief Grixtar was studying his scanners in amazement. The physiological responses are all positive. Increased salivation, elevated mood indicators, no signs of toxicity. But why do our scanners call these things weapons? Asked Inspector Velka. Han smiled beneath his protective helmet. Because your scanners are looking for dangerous amounts. Humans use tiny quantities that create pleasure instead of pain. Speaker Thix Van finally approached the plates. May I try some of this flavored food? The medical team monitored carefully as the council speaker tasted human-style cooking for the first time. His purple breathing holes slowly changed from nervous red to a calm blue. Remarkable, he said quietly. Our food has never tasted like anything before. 6 months had passed since Han's demonstration changed everything. He stood in his new, much larger restaurant watching the morning rush. The small earth kitchen had grown into 3 floors of dining space, and there was a waiting list every day. Chef Han, called his assistant, a young Regelian named Talk. The council's weekly order is ready. They want their vegetables extra spicy, again. Han smiled as he packed the containers. Who would have thought that the same council members who once feared his salt and pepper would now ask for extra hot sauce on their food? Dr. Yumi entered through the front door carrying a thick book. She had become famous throughout the galaxy after publishing her research about Deathworld evolution. Han, I brought you a copy of my new book. What's it called? Han asked, wiping his hands on his apron. How dangerous planets create amazing people. Why Deathworld species can turn poisons into pleasure. Dr. Yumi's blue feathers looked proud. It's required reading in every xenobiology program now. Still sounds scary when you put it that way, Han laughed. Inspector Velka approached their table. The crystal being now wore a special badge that read, Terran Cuisine Safety Specialist. Their job had changed from shutting down human restaurants to helping them open safely. Han, we have a problem, Velka said, but they were smiling. The Warrior Guild of Krextar wants to visit your restaurant again. That's not a problem. Those guys are great customers. They want to try your Death Star wings. Han's eyes widened. The Death Star wings were his spiciest dish, so hot that most humans could only eat 1 or 2. Are you sure that's safe? They insist it's the ultimate test of warrior strength, Velka explained. Their commander says any fighter who can eat a full plate of Death Star wings proves they fear nothing in the universe. Dr. Yumi laughed. A year ago the galaxy thought human spices were weapons of war. Now the toughest warriors in space use them to prove how brave they are. The restaurant door opened and a group of large reptilian aliens entered. These were the Krextar warriors, each one was twice as tall as Han and covered in thick, armored skin. Their leader, General Vex, approached the counter. Human Han, General Vex said in a voice like grinding rocks, my warriors are ready for the ultimate challenge. Are you sure about this? Han asked. These wings are very, very spicy. We are Krextar. We fear no chemical weapon. General Vex pounded his chest with pride. Han looked at Dr. Yumi and Velka, who both nodded. The medical team was already setting up their monitoring equipment. This had become routine for extreme spice challenges. 20 minutes later, Han brought out plates of bright red chicken wings covered in his hottest sauce. The Krextar warriors sat around a large table, each with a glass of milk nearby, another human discovery that aliens found useful. General Vex took the first bite. His reptilian eyes immediately began watering. His armored skin turned bright green. But he did not stop eating. Delicious, he shouted, though tears were streaming down his face. The burn means we are alive. One by one his warriors joined in. Some turned colors Han had never seen before. Others made sounds like steam engines. But they kept eating, encouraging each other with warrior chants. Other customers in the restaurant stopped eating to watch. A table of Velthari crystal beings recorded everything on their communication devices. A group of young Zephyrians cheered for the warriors. This is incredible, Dr. Yumi whispered. 6 months ago these same spice levels would have cleared the entire space station. Now they're entertainment. Look around, Velka said quietly. Han looked at his restaurant. Every table was full of different alien species sharing meals together. A Centaurian family was teaching their children to use chopsticks. A group of business partners from 5 different worlds were celebrating a deal with Korean barbecue. 2 young aliens from different species were on what looked like a first date, nervously sharing a mildly spicy soup. Food brings people together, Han said, remembering his grandmother's words. I never thought it would work with the whole galaxy. General Vex finished his last wing and stood up, his green skin now fading back to normal brown. Human Han, you have created the greatest test of courage in the known universe. My warriors will speak of this day forever. The other customers applauded as the Krextar warriors left, walking a bit unsteadily but looking very proud. As closing time approached, Han cleaned his kitchen and thought about how much had changed. His small restaurant had become a symbol of how different species could understand each other. Other humans had opened restaurants on dozens of worlds, always with careful safety monitoring, but the galaxy was learning to enjoy what they once feared. His communication device chimed with a message from his mother on Earth. Son, I saw the news report about your restaurant. Your grandmother would be so proud. You really did bring our family recipes to the stars. Han smiled and looked at his spice rack, the same salt, pepper and chili powder that had once nearly caused an interstellar incident. Now they were just ingredients that helped create something beautiful. A galaxy where everyone could sit down together and share a good meal.